They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine. You just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another Genshin Impact video. My name's Dark Revener and I like to play games, and today we're going to be talking about Xiao, and some of the things that big YouTubers aren't telling you about him. So, as you saw from the beginning of the clip, this started out very well, and then went horribly wrong in a matter of seconds. Xiao is the definition of a glass cannon. He will deal out massive amounts of damage, but he will also take massive amounts of damage if you mess up. This primarily boils down to two main reasons. One being that Xiao has a very aggressive playstyle where you need to be up close and personal in order to fight your enemy, but also because when you're using his plunge attack, you can get disoriented and not see exactly where you're falling, not be able to predict what is going to hit you next, etc. And secondly, because he is constantly dealing damage to himself while he's in his burst mode, which is the mode where he gets the majority of his damage, so you basically always want to be in it. But because of that, you're constantly at risk of taking damage not only from yourself, but from your enemies. So one slight mistake can end up with a bad run. A lot of big YouTubers are only showing his raw damage potential and showing their clean runs, and I essentially just wanted to let people know that he does have insane damage, and it is really great. He is a great character. I do like him. But I want to let people know that you are playing with a high risk, high reward playstyle, and so things can mess up, and they actually do end up messing up more often than other characters, unless if you have a really good team to back him up, and even sometimes when you do have a really good team to back him up, things can go wrong. More so than any other 5-star that I've built and used, Xiao is very heavily dependent on having a good team to support him in order to deal out massive amounts of raw damage. Other characters like Diluc and Ganyu do benefit from having support, but aren't completely reliant on it, where Xiao, since he is constantly dealing damage to himself, he needs a good healer and most likely is going to need a good shield for you to be able to utilize him properly. What I'm showing you guys right now is actually a good and a very clean run that everything went right, and I really enjoyed playing him. It was great. He dealt out a lot of damage, my supports kept him safe, everything went right this time. But what I'm really trying to get at is that although he is a great character and can deal a lot of damage, it took me a lot more time in order to figure him out, adjust to his playstyle, build a proper team for him, and make sure that he was constantly safe. These are all things that I consider with every character when I'm building a team around them, but I feel as though I had to do this even more so with Xiao than any other character I've ever built. Another really huge thing to consider is that most of these YouTubers, and even including myself just now, are using really stacked teams in order to support him. They have Zhongli, they have Qiqi, they have Venti, they have the great support units, maxed out level 90 with 5-star weapons, and 5-star artifacts completely maxed out with excellent substats, and the reality is that most players just don't have this, and so it's going to be even harder to properly support Xiao. However, that being said, it's definitely not impossible. What I just showed you was a bad run, but I'm also about to show you a good run using the same exact characters, Diona, Qingqiu, Sucrose, and Xiao. I wanted to record this because I wanted to show what you can actually expect if you're a free-to-play player and pulled Xiao. It's definitely still possible to utilize him and protect him and get a good clear on things, but it will be a little bit more difficult and you're definitely going to be dealing a lot less damage. I also found myself having to adjust my playstyle in order to make sure that he stayed alive, keep my teammates alive, and make sure that I was still DPSing at a significant rate. Essentially, I set up my team to have Diona as a healer as well as a bit of a shield. I had Qingqiu for damage reduction and extra heals using his skill, and I mainly used Sucrose as a elemental battery to make sure that Xiao had enough Anemo energy consistently. This is just one of many different teams that you could build in order to utilize Xiao using 4-star supports. I'm actually considering making a whole video about which characters are best supports for Xiao as well as possible team combinations, so if you're interested in that, please let me know down in the comments below, because I'd be happy to make one. But this team actually works surprisingly well, and even though Xiao was only using the craftable 4-star weapon, it went pretty well, and it was still dealing a decent amount of damage and was able to take out Childe. I mainly just wanted to highlight a lot of these facts because I feel as though so many of the YouTubers that I'm watching are only singing him high praises and not being critical of some of the negative sides to his kit, and I feel as though people just need to know this information if they're going to want to invest in him and know what they're getting into. More so than any other character that I've built, I had to invest a lot into him to make sure that he was a viable character for DPS. But once I did, he was a very good character and could definitely carry you through the grand majority of content in the game. I just want you to know that it will be difficult to sometimes keep him alive depending on the situation, and that unlike other main characters, you can't just invest in him, you also have to invest heavily into your team to make sure that he is alive, safe, and able to deal as much damage as possible. Another thing to keep in mind, especially for new players or players that do not have a lot of resin to spare, you will have to farm twice as hard for him because you have to farm 2 different bosses in order to level him up to his full potential. So keep that in mind that you're going to have to spend 40 resin on each boss in order to make sure that he's going to be at his highest damage potential by ascending him. Essentially, I think that people should only summon for Xiao if 1, he's one of your favorite characters and you just really love him, and 2, if you're willing to hyper-invest into him and a team to support him. I say this because I feel as though Xiao is a very selfish character that requires a lot of attention and a lot of investment, but if you do give him that time and investment, he can out-DPS most characters in the game. For the rest of the video, I'm just going to be showing some damage comparisons between my stacked 5-star build versus my budget build. Both builds will be shown in full at the end of the video, so make sure that you stick around to the end if you want to see how I built my characters and see the differences between the 2 builds. Most of them are built fairly well, but I do want to say that Diona is built incorrectly if you want her to be your main shield character. You do need a lot more HP if you want her to have a proper shield, but I do not have her properly built as of right now since I mainly use Qiqi as my main healer. I really wanted to show you guys both builds in action as well as be transparent with the actual builds themselves so that you can know what to expect whether you're free to play or pay to win. I just find it a little disingenuous that some YouTubers are only singing him high praises without being critical of his kit, are not showing some of the more difficult aspects of using Xiao, and are only thinking about his potential with fully stacked 5-star weapons, artifacts, and teams to support him. I may be sounding a little bit harsh right now, but I think it's really important considering how scarce primos are and how hard it is to wish for 5-star characters. I just don't want anyone to be disappointed if they end up not liking Xiao or realize just how much investment that they actually have to put into him in order to make him a viable or usable character. When you do properly invest into him, he can be a main carry, he will be your go-to guy, he will carry you through just about anything. However, if you do not think that you are suited for a high-risk, high-reward playstyle, then you might want to skip Xiao because he could possibly kill some of your harder difficulty runs in things like Spiral Abyss or boss fights. If you found this video helpful at all, or if I talked about some things that you never considered before regarding Xiao, please feel free to leave me a like and comment down below. It really does help me grow my channel. And consider subscribing if you want to see more Genshin Impact content. We're getting really close to 1,000 subscribers, which is amazing. Thank you guys so much. And for new people just seeing this video, I would really appreciate your help getting there. I'm currently planning on making a bunch of new videos regarding Xiao, what his best possible supports are, team comps, best weapons, etc. So stick around if you're interested. As I mentioned before, my team builds for both of these teams is going to be at the end of the video, so stick around to the end of the video to see those. And for now, that's all, guys. I hope that this helped a few people out in regards to making a decision for Xiao, or how they're going to go about building Xiao and his team. I hope you're all having a great day, that you're enjoying playing Genshin Impact, and I'll talk to you guys later. Alright, until next time, best wishes. Bye.
恐るるに足らず剣女盤石
一緒に遊ぼうよ
わめくがいいここだはっ雨描きがたし無能無能無能行くぞ ひゃっ
雨描きがたし歌よに
ひゃっ
超拡散形態6308式ユニット
ここだ無能ここだ無駄だくだらない行くぞ
6308式ユニット
歌よ錦とな
7号式モジュール
ひゃっわめくがいい無能ここだここだここだここだおれ行くぞひゃっ無駄だはっせひゃっへっひゃっ
この件はわかるかい
イェイ
安全距離確認
消えろひゃっ